This is the Redmi Watch 5 Lite. It comes with 1.96 inch of fluid AMOLED display, enhanced 5-system GPS, 200 plus watch faces, 24/7 heart monitoring, 150 plus sport modes with support for swim tracking and even up to 18 days of battery life. But I'm not here to just read the labels. I'm here to actually test the product. So watch till the end because it's going to be interesting. Okay, let's start with the design and build quality. From a distance, it does look premium, but if you hold it, you will understand that it's just made out of plastic. And Xiaomi did not try to hide it. It has this glossy sides, which I think would have looked better with a matte finish like they have gone for the back of the smartwatch. It does come with comfortable straps, like I mentioned in a previous video of mine where I was reviewing a watch from Bold, and the straps were like horrible. But thankfully these straps are pretty comfortable to wear. But I don't really understand, or maybe I don't know how to use them. So it has this problem. If I wear it, I have to actually put this inside, and if I put it inside and go to sleep in the morning, it becomes very difficult to open due to some reason. So I have to like pull, and it causes a lot of trouble. If you see, it's good because at least it will prevent people from stealing it in the public, because that happens a lot. But yeah, it also does have its own downsides. But if you want, you can also remove the straps just like this. It has a standard 22mm strap. You can just replace it with any strap of your choice. So that is also available. On the right side of the watch, you do get a function button, and it's not like any of those functional crown. It doesn't even look like a crown, it's just a button. So it really sticks out from the watch, which is great. And also there's a speaker over here. I guess I'm also showing it in the larger screen. And there's a heart rate monitor, or the sensors at the back. Like I mentioned, it's matte finish, which makes it look nice. And also you get the charging area. It does not have any wireless charging, so you get the standard 2-pin charger in the box, which you can use for charging this. The back of this watch also has a couple of holes. I'm not really sure what they are meant for. Xiaomi advertises that there are 2 mics with environmental noise cancellation for clear calls, so they are probably those. Okay, the first thing that impressed me when I switched on this watch is, well, the display. Xiaomi advertises this again as a 1.96 inch fluid AMOLED display. I'm not really sure about the fluid part, but yeah, it is a really good quality AMOLED display. Just look how rich the contrast is. It enables the watch to have always on display, which means you can make it behave like a traditional watch with the screen always showing you the time. But you have to remember that it does affect the battery, and Xiaomi warns you that it will reduce the battery efficiency by 50%. So keep that in mind when you're turning on always on display. Now let's go back to the fluid part. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't really think this is a problem for the display, because the display is probably a 60 Hz smooth refresh rate supported display. But I think the internals that Xiaomi provided, of course at such a cheap price, does not live up to the mark for enabling that smooth 60 Hz refresh rate. You will definitely notice that this watch is smoother and much fluider than its competitors, which is a good thing, and it also does not have those weird mistouches. But at the same time, don't expect it to be so smooth like any wearer's device, because again, you have to keep in mind the price of this watch. The home screen looks cool, but you can change the watch face by long pressing the display. Not just that, but you can also choose a different theme for the same watch face. Top to bottom swipe in the home screen launches the notification section. Bottom to top brings up the quick action center. I love the quick action button to keep the display of the watch on for 5 minutes. Really useful. Left to right swipe brings up the different widgets and quick views. And again, the same goes for the right to left swipe. The right function button triggers the app menu. Just like what you would expect in a typical smartwatch, this thing covers almost everything. It has support for Bluetooth calling, access to your contacts, call logs, and more. You can receive or send calls using the watch when it is connected over Bluetooth. There are a number of handy apps included too. There's a weather app, to show you related information, a very minimal calendar app, a separate app included for managing events, then there's an app to manage pending tasks, a music controller, a camera app which controls the camera and works only when you have the system camera open. I love how it works with the system camera because there are brands who only support a very minimal camera through their own pairing app. It is pretty annoying. This thing also has support for timers, pretty cool. Other mini utilities include alarm, timer, stopwatch, find your phone, flashlight, and even Alexa voice assistant. Okay, all the basic features are covered. Now let's focus on health tracking. Starting with heart rate, because this is the most important parameter. You get a basic heart rate monitor that also supports continuous heart rate monitoring, and hence the graphs that you see. There's no support for ECG, of course, and that's kind of expected anyway. You also don't get blood pressure monitor. What's interesting is there's a widget in their app related to this, but it actually isn't supported by the watch. Next, there is stress monitoring, which is surprisingly in the 30s, whereas on my OnePlus Watch 2R it is rarely below 50. I don't know if there's a different set of parameters for measurement over here, but yeah, there's quite some difference between the two. The stress monitoring does take quite some time to generate results, so I would also mention that. Now you also get other health monitoring features like for checking SpO2 levels or the blood oxygen levels. Other apps include breathing and focus, you know what they are meant for. I love how the haptics are on this watch. It's not like super strong, but yeah, it doesn't feel super cheap too. Okay, now let's talk about the sleep tracking. I really like how Xiaomi has done this, and it's not just Xiaomi, but almost every smartwatch company I've seen does this part really nicely. So by default you get a very basic sleep tracking, like as you can see on the screen. It does not have tracking features for REM sleep, or also one more thing, that is the breathing score. Now when you turn on the advanced sleep tracking, you also get a sleep score along with the REM sleep tracking and also the breathing score. Now I really like this part where Xiaomi actually goes through the data that it has accumulated for the last 7 days in a row if you have slept, and then it tells you which sleep animal you are. Unfortunately, I forgot to wear it last night. It would have completed the 7 days if I would have worn it, but I haven't, so it isn't complete as of now. And in the lower part you also get a suggestion, which is a sleep interpretation and suggestion, which is supported by the Chinese Sleep Research Society. If it is helpful, you can go through this part and check it out. It's basically the same thing that is provided for all the pages, so it's not really curated for the sleep that has been tracked, but yeah, it's available. Now you can also click on the graph and see a detailed overview of the graph. That's also available. Okay, now let's talk about the different sport modes. Now I've already mentioned that this watch has support for more than 150 sport modes, and that is what Xiaomi advertises. If you visit the workout section of this smartwatch, you can actually track a number of workouts like outdoor running, freestyle, hiking, outdoor cycling, and even walking. And not just that, you can also track your pool swimming, because this has up to 5 ATM water resistance. Now if you visit the more section, you will notice that you can also track even more water sports like sailing, open water, paddle boarding, and more. And not just that, again, you can also track things which are not very physically demanding, but more like mentally demanding, like cards and board games. Even during that, you can track your vitals and maybe check how much calories you lost playing chess, checkers, a bridge, board game, and more. But anyway, it's not really possible to check everything. So yesterday I took this watch out for a short walk, and I did notice a number of things. First things first, this watch has an inbuilt GPS, which means I need not have to carry my phone, and this watch could accurately track my location. I mean, the route I was taking for the walk, the distance I traveled, and also obviously the number of steps, calories burned, and everything. Those are a part of the health sensor system, but it also has a GPS, inbuilt GPS, which I didn't really expect at this price point. Xiaomi has also advertised this on their box, but there's one problem. This GPS is kind of accurate, but at the same time it's a bit unreliable, because I paused the tracking and went inside a shopping mall yesterday, and the watch actually kept reminding me that it wasn't possible to access the GPS or fetch the location because the area is not open. And it's still okay because who would need all these features inside a shopping mall? Mind it that I stopped or like paused the activity tracking, and still even after that it gave me the notification that the GPS wasn't accessible. And when again I went outside, everything was back to normal. But that isn't the end of it, because when I was inside a narrow lane, the GPS bar dropped to 2. And after a few minutes, it again gave me the signal that the GPS wasn't accessible. So I need to move to an open location. So yeah, it's kind of like a perk to have the GPS in a smartwatch at this price point, but it isn't super reliable all the time. Now, another thing that I noticed is when you turn on activity tracking, especially from the workout modes, it actually locks everything inside the watch. You can't access the other apps. I don't know if anyone would find this annoying, but yesterday I thought I would like to change my watch face, but I couldn't change because the activity tracking was on. And even when I paused the activity tracking, it actually didn't allow me to get out of the app and maybe access another app. So you have to keep that in mind. When you turn on activity tracking, you can't really use this watch for anything else. But there are controls for the music system. You can actually pause, play, or skip to the next music. These controls are still available when the activity tracking is on, but other than that, you can't really do much. Even the function button is disabled from accessing the home screen. You can actually use it for quickly pausing or resuming the workout, which is a handy feature, I would say. But yeah, that's all what you can do. Okay, now let's talk about the battery life of this smartwatch. Now, I don't really have any complaints regarding that, and it just provides typically what any Android smartwatch would do. I mean, not Android, but like a Bluetooth accessory smartwatch would do, not a wearer smartwatch. And yeah, Xiaomi advertises it as to be lasting for 18 days. I don't really know if that's true or not, but yeah, I haven't charged this for quite some time, and still now it has a battery percentage of 82%, and yesterday I used it a lot. I took it out for walking, I tracked my activities and everything, and the entire day the always on display was turned on. So it did show me that it will reduce the battery efficiency by 50%, so that probably affected a bit. But when I took it out for walking, the battery was at 90%. And when I returned, it was down to 87%. And I'd only walked around 2 to 2.5 kilometers yesterday. It was a very short walk, just meant for seeing how this watch performs. I won't say it's bad or good. I mean, most of the Bluetooth accessory smartwatches perform just like this. But I did notice a number of intelligent features on the smartwatch. Like when you turn on always on display, it would not keep the screen on when you don't wear the watch. So only when you wear the watch will the screen turn on and show the always on display. So that's there. And also when you go off to sleep or when you doze off, it will automatically detect that you're sleeping and again turn off the always on display. Okay, so that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Do like, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. If I've missed any part of this watch in this video, or if you have any doubts, then do comment down below and I will try to address them as soon as possible.